All right, you guys, thanks for coming on. Happy Monday night. I am recording, and tonight's call is significance over success. And if you guys have ever felt like God or the universe is trying to tell you something, you ever feel like that? You ever feel like you're getting the same message from all these different sources? Well, lately I've been feeling like I'm hearing the same message coming at me from different sources, and I think it's ultimately applicable to our home business. And so I thought it would make a good topic for our team call, significance over success. So I've been reading John Maxwell's book, The 17 Indisputable Laws of Teamwork. Have any of you guys read that one before? It's awesome, and I recommend it, and I'm absolutely loving it. And so that's one of the sources. I'm listening to a podcast from Michelle Myers. I don't know if you guys follow, not a podcast, a Periscope from her every day. Tasha, it's that devotion that I shared with you today. I don't know if you saw it. And same kind of like message about our significance in the world, our sense of purpose and meaning. And hi, Embers. I'm going to mute you. Hi. And we were, I was at this, I was in San Diego, and one of the keynote speakers, actually Brian's wearing an Under Armour shirt. This guy is sponsored by Under Armour. And Brian, you're looking like eye candy once again, looking good. This guy, Todd Durkin, was our keynote speaker. And some of the things he said that I'm going to touch on, talk about just our significance in the world. Chalene Johnson talked to us, and some of the things she said struck me in the same way. And then there's a TED Talks short video that I'm actually going to start to play for you guys tonight. You might not be able to hear it, and that's okay if you can't. And it gave me the same message. And then there's the fact that I was on an airplane. And if you guys are like me, when you're on an airplane, don't you think about your mortality? Like, don't you think, like every time I'm on an airplane, I think about what if this airplane were to crash, and what does my life mean, and what would people think? And I like always want to write my husband like a love note on the little napkin that you get with your peanuts or whatever. You know how there's a napkin with your like drink? I always like want to write him a meaningful letter, because I'm thinking about my life and my significance. And so again, all these things, all these sources, my devotion, my personal development book, the keynote speaker, Shalene's message, being in the airplane, and this silly TED Talks video, all were like telling me the same message. So have you guys seen the TED Talk video? I bet some of you have. The Lone Nut Follower. None of you have seen that video? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to screen share. Now, the last time I tried to screen share a video on our team call was when Kelly Amos had her video, and I tried to share it, and I didn't know until the next day. I always watch the replay. I always watch the replay of our video, because it's usually Jen or I, and I like to watch it again and just like hear it from you guys' perspective, and kind of, if I'm the one leading it, I like to critique myself. So I didn't know until the next day that you guys could not actually hear the audio. So would you guys, if that happens, it's okay. It just means I'm going to have to give the editorial on this TED Talk. So well, let's see. I can see on the screen, because I can only see some of you, I can see Tasha, Jen, and Carolyn. Will you guys let me know if you can you hear this, guy? No? You cannot hear? Okay, it's okay. So what's happening? Oops. Uh-oh.
You pressed the button, Ellen.
I know, I was trying to. Oh, dear Lord. How do I go back, Bobby?
Let's go back right there. Click that button.
Okay, so what's happening here? Oh, jeez. Hold on, team. So now we have to watch the ad. I had it all queued up. That was a great little like Adele song too. So what you're gonna see is this crazy lone nut doing a dance in a park. Like he probably lives like in the Pacific Northwest. So look up in the screen and notice this guy is starting to do his own little boogie. A leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But here's his first follower. The leader embraces the follower as an equal. It's about them, not about the leader. Following is an underestimated part of leadership. Stay with me. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut job, a lone nut, into a leader, the follower. Now there's 3. So it went from a lone nut to a lone nut with a follower to 3, which makes it a crowd. Just wait. This is a short clip, you guys, hang on. So what is happening is a movement is being created. And I will post this video in Team Play Hard. It's like 2 minutes long. And basically the tide shifts here and it becomes sort of unpopular to not be in this wacky lone nut dancing in the park, Woodstock, drug fest, whatever's going on here. So I'll post that video. I thought all of you guys would have seen it before because it floats around Facebook quite a bit. So 1, it's the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. 3 is a crowd. It must be public. And new followers are actually emulating the followers, not the leader. And that leadership is actually over-glorified, and it takes courage to follow. I'll come back to that. So in my John Maxwell personal development book that I'm reading right now, the 17 indisputable laws of teamwork, guess what the #1 indisputable law is? The #1 law of these 17 laws in the book is that one, like the lone nut, right? 1 is too small to achieve greatness. 1 is too small to achieve greatness. And what gets in the way of greatness for us are these things: ego, insecurity, naivety, and temperament. So I ask myself, and I ask you, are any of those things getting in the way of your greatness? Is your temperament? Is my temperament? Is your insecurity? And I'll talk about that in a few more minutes, but is your insecurity fear of failing? Is it your ego? Is it just not knowing? What is in the way of your true potential? What do you think stands in the way of those 4 things of your greatness? Another thing that spoke to me recently is my boss, Barb. Bobby knows Barb. And she's my master trainer boss. And she was talking over this weekend about seasons of our lives. And
are you dipping?
We're always going through seasons. And she was talking about Group X instructors and how there's like, for those of us that have been around for a long time, there's the Group X instructor who's like, you know, in college and young. And then you see them in another season when they go through maybe pregnancy. And then you see them maybe in another season where they go through divorce, right? It just, you know, these seasons, and then where they are instructors are becoming grandparents, and then they're burying their parents. I mean, it's just seasons of our lives. We are always going through seasons, and we have these setbacks, and we have these seasons of blessing. We all do. We're all in a season. We're all in a season. And it made me think about, as she was talking about seasons, I was kind of thinking about how just like 2 years ago, as many of you guys know, kind of because I talk about my why with you guys often, with each of you I have, how, you know, I was in the dumps. Financially, we were in the dumps. My anxiety was through the roof. You guys know that story. I've been very transparent about that. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, debt collectors, you've heard it. But then there was this season of the last 2 years, which many of you guys have seen me through, where I became a master trainer, and then I was honored as an MVP master trainer, and I'm not tooting my own horn here. Then I made talent team for P90X and was in the videos, and then I was in the PIO marketing materials, and then I am on the PIO infomercial that came out last week that I haven't even watched yet. I just did the challenge du jour shoot for Beachbody on Demand. Lord willing, knock on wood, I'll be an elite coach this year. So I've gone into a season of flourishing. It's seasons. And it still makes me think, like, where am I hanging my worth? Because if it's on success, it's never going to be enough. There's always going to be that next thing. Like, it's never going to be enough. And there's always going to be someone better than me. Like, I was a mess at this challenge du jour shoot. I mean, you know, if I'm hanging my hat on success as my worth and my value, and this is going to be applicable to our business, you guys, so hang on as I tie it together at the end. If I hang my hat on that, it's never going to be enough, and I'll never be fulfilled. And I'll be like, well, I'm not thin enough, and I'm not as fit, and well, now I want to be a celebrity trainer. You know, like, it's never going to be enough. And at the end of the day, I ask myself, and when I'm in an airplane thinking about what if the airplane crashes, and I look at my seasons and I think about how I was so low 2.5, 3 years ago, so low, like am I going to live under a bridge? You know, low, to this abundance where I'm on a stinking PIO infomercial. And I look at that and I think, what matters? What matters? What matters to me? What matters to us is people. That's it. It's people. It's relationships. At the end of my life, am I going to care about the flipping PIO infomercial? No. I'm going to care about that I matter to Heather Hicks. I'm going to care about Kristen DeVoe being able to buy her own horse and have spent hours of joy riding a horse that she was able to buy, because right now she can't. That's the thing. You guys, my friends, my family, and my children, that's what matters, and that is what, that's all that matters in this world. I'm going to tie this into our business, so bear with me. And I'll wrap it up. Why do people tell us no? In terms of our business, when we think about all the people that say no, why do they say no? And just because I want to rattle on through this, rather than make it interactive, I would have loved to have made it interactive, and I would have loved to have put a PowerPoint together for you. But I'm just going to tell you, that the reason people tell us no is time, that they don't have the time, that they don't have the money, and that ultimately I'm not good enough and I'm not ready. So they look at us and they think, well, I'm not like you, I couldn't be like you, or I'm not fit enough, or I don't have a body like my perfect goal body, or I'm just not ready right now, or what if I might fail, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough knowledge, or I'm not smart enough, I can't afford it, I have no time. We all have the same, nobody has 25 hours in the day. We all have the same amount of time. Too busy just means it's not important enough. So Shalene worked with us on these objections in a different light, actually in a totally different light. She was talking about master training world, but it applies to our business. Those are people's objections. And what they're really afraid of, if you boil it down, and if you have a pen and you are taking notes, it's fear and shame are the real objections. Those are the real things. Those are their real reasons. They're afraid of failing, and they're afraid of the shame in failing. What if they waste their money? What if they're not any good? What if they can't lose weight? You know, what if? I was Zooming with Emily this morning, and we were talking about some of these things and how great our products are. We all know our workouts are freaking amazing and they work, but you know what? People can get in shape other ways. People can get in shape doing other things, right? We know our nutrition is like the best. It's top notch. We know that. So what we really are selling, or should be selling, or a better word is probably giving, is not the top-notch DVD program or Beachbody On Demand program, or the top-notch nutrition. It's, if you look back at people's objections and you look at the underneath things, shame and fear, what we are really selling or giving is belief, believing in them, believing in the person, me believing in, you know, I don't know why I'm talking about Heather Hicks again. I believe in that girl. Like, I believe in her. I believe in her journey. I believe in her journey as with her transformation and as with her business. It's belief. And so that's how we help them. We believe that they have everything that they need in their spirit and that they can succeed. There are two voices that they hear: the internal voice in their own head, and they hear an external voice, which is ours. They hear two voices. So when their objections are really rooted in fear and shame, if we can be, we are their external voice. If we can offer them belief and love and acceptance and trust, but that we believe that they're amazing and that they have what it takes, maybe they will hear our voice. Maybe our voice will be louder than the one in their own head, and maybe it won't be. But that's really our fulfillment as a coach, and in having a life of significance and tying this business into a life of significance. Because I think you'd all agree that we feel that way. We feel like we're doing something that matters together, all of us. All of us. We're all that lone nut with our coaches, with our, with our power, the courage. The leader, the lone nut is over glorified. I'm a lone nut. Bobby's a lone nut. Brian's a lone nut. We're lone nuts. And then we have our lone nut follower. They're the courageous one that came alongside us. And then we have our crowd. We're building our tribes. We are part of a tribe. And but there is significance in it when we are caring and loving people. Oh, and by the way, when I was talking about the season of abundance that I've had these last couple of years, do you know why I've had those things? It's not because of how I look. It's not because of any hidden talent that I have. It's because of the relationships that I built. It's people. It's people. It's people. It's relationships. It's people. That's it. It's connecting to people. And so I'm going to wrap this up. Check your lenses, as I'm checking my lenses too. Are we focused on the right stuff? Are we focused on success and a certain amount of rank and Success Club points? And that stuff is good. It's good. It's good to be like, I'm always wanting to reach for the next thing. I hope I never stop. I always want to reach for the next thing. We should always reach for the next set of goals. And we should always have those goals, Success Club and everything. But we just don't want to wrap and engulf our worth and purpose into that. It's really, that's not into success that way. So Chalene said that if she worked at a 7-Eleven, she would be living a fulfilled life, loving people, and she would feel significant. And that really impacted me. So to wrap it up, let's see, I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Find your lone nut. I'm going to post that video in Team Play Hard. There's like 2 minutes of it are just great. And if you can like just catch the double meaning with our business, you'll really enjoy it. It's from TED Talks. So find your lone nut, and then that follower that makes you a leader, and that helps create a crowd and then a movement. And then remember John Maxwell's number one rule of significance is that one, I want to quote it correctly. Let me see my notes here. One meaning one person, meaning you, one is too small to achieve greatness. Number one rule of significance. And my last call to action and takeaway for you is be the external voice. And just maybe you will be the louder one. And that as coaches, you know, my encouragement to you is, and to myself, is that that's what we're selling. That's what we're selling. That's what we're giving is hope and belief. And that's when the paycheck will come, but that's when we also have our fulfillment. So that's it, you guys. I really don't have anything else for you tonight. I will post the link to that video, and I'll post the link to this book too, because it's blowing my mind. That's all I have for you.
So I have one thing to add.
Yeah.
That I remember. So I operate on certain quotes that I remember and from different things. And I'm a reality TV show junkie. And so there was one show that I was watching on Bravo. It's called LA Shrinks. They canceled it. But the last episode, it basically followed these different therapists in LA. And one of them, her take home that she said that was really interesting was that over time and over the years of her being a therapist, there's been one thing that has really brought people together, and that is most linked to happiness. And it is that people are happiest when they're making deep personal connections with other people. And that is something to just keep in mind, because that is, you know, we're not going to have, I haven't been super, super successful with this business yet, but you're not going to have good retention unless people like you, unless you are connected to them, unless you know them, unless they know you. And so that's one of those things that message comes in and really makes me think about that and remember that. And so it went along with everything. Like, as you were talking, Ellen, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, people are happiest when making deep personal connections with other people. So
that's a perfect summary. It is a perfect summary. And I think whether you're struggling as a coach or you're doing really well as a coach, like both ends of the spectrum, I think it's easy for me to like kind of get a little caught up in where I'm placing my sense of worth. And yeah, it's people. It is. That's it. That's what matters. And our business lets us work that way. Tasha, do you have any thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll box you.
Okay.
Expect a box tonight, because there's something on this whole entire matter that I just voxed in CJ earlier, and that you're bringing up the plane. I'll vox you. Just know that I'm voxing you, and I'll text you at the same time, because I know
Okay.
boxes.
I'll check.
Okay. That was awesome, Ellen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alexandra, Carolyn, anybody? have any thoughts? Where's the workbook? Is it is it something people buy, or is it like you can go to the website? Jen?
But when you buy it, you can buy it 2 ways. You can buy it that book, or it comes with a workbook with it. You just buy it at the store or online. And I think there's an audio version too. I don't have the audio version, Bobby, but the workbook's really good.
Is this based on the 17 laws of the, is that what you're talking about, Jen?
Yeah, with the 17 Laws of Success book, there's a workbook that comes along with it of teamwork.
Because there's a 17 laws of leadership at the same time, right?
Yeah, and there's also a workbook for that too. Every time he does a book like that, he puts a workbook with it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right, you guys, let's just make it short and sweet tonight. Sound good? All right.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Mwah.
Bye, you guys. See you next week.